Today on Menorah Stories. Andrew stood at the radiant gates of heaven. In his hands he held a small pantry bowl. An angel approached him, radiant with a faint smile.
"Have you come for the king's banquet?"
The angel asked.
"Yes, I've waited my whole life for this moment."
He replied eagerly.
"Welcome. The king has been expecting you."
The angel said, gesturing towards the majestic gates. The gates swung open, and what he saw took his breath away. Inside, the grandest feast was underway. Golden tables stretched beyond sight, laughter filled the air, and the fragrance of heaven itself rested upon every dish. But something caught his eye. Every guest carried a container. Some came with barrels so large they needed 2 angels just to roll it in. Others came with wide pots like they were coming to cook for the masses. Others came with deep bowls and large silver vessels. For news had travelled far and wide of the king's lavishness and his abundance, the overflow that was the aftermath of these banquets. He looked down at his own hands. His little pantry bowl suddenly felt small, almost embarrassingly small. He sat near the end of a long table. The feast began, and melody, laughter, and joy filled the air. All sorts of meals were served, food and fruits he knew on earth, and ones that only existed in heaven. They ate, they sang, they worshipped. When the feast ended, the king gave the command,
"Let every guest take home from my abundance."
Upon his word, angels began to pour treasures, gold, garments of glory, crowns, food, oil, into every vessel. And as each person left, their containers overflowed with the riches of the king. Those with barrels could hardly carry theirs. Those with larger pots were drenched in provision. Carts were gleaming with treasures. Andrew watched as his own pantry bowl filled up too quickly. Just a handful of food, a few coins of gold, and a robe folded small enough to fit. He stared in disbelief.
"This can't be all.
Disappointed, he ran to the angel.
This isn't fair. Why do they get so much more whilst I get so little?"
Because they came ready to receive more.
The angel replied calmly.
"But how? No one told us to bring bigger bowls."
Andrew retorted.
No one needed to.
The angel replied.
Each heart chose what to carry. You knew enough to bring something. What you brought simply matched what you expected to receive. What you chose revealed what you believed the feast would be. Every vessel here reflects how much its owner believed the king would provide. The king never withholds. He simply fills what's offered.
The angel reached out, touching the rim of his bowl lightly.
Yours too is according to the measure of your faith.
Andrew's eyes jerked open. He was still on the small sofa in his room, in the same position he'd been mumbling prayers before he drifted off to sleep. It was a dream. It's all been a dream. The angel's last words echoed in his mind.
According to the measure of your faith. According to the measure of your faith.
He whispered it again, slower this time.
"According to the measure of your faith."
He couldn't shake off how real it had felt. Then his phone rang, snapping him out of thought. It was Daniel, his best friend. He and Daniel had been praying for months, trusting God for almost the same thing. For Andrew, it had been one prayer on repeat.
"Lord, bless me with a miracle home. A place of my own. I'm tired of paying rent. Lord, even if it's just a single room with a little window, I'll be content."
Daniel's prayer was the same in content. but worlds apart in faith.
Lord,
Daniel would say with certainty,
I know you are able. I'm trusting you for a 5-bedroom house, fully furnished, fully paid, because you are Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. Your word said to ask, and it shall be given, to seek, and it will be found, to knock, and it shall be opened. So here I am today, asking you for a 5-bedroom house, seeking your favor, knocking on your provision. Thank you, Lord, for you are able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than I could ever ask or imagine.
The first day Andrew heard him pray like that, he laughed.
5 rooms? For you alone? It's not like you have a wife or kids. What do you need 5 rooms for? Plus, who in this economy just gives away a 5-bedroom house? You are being delusional, my friend. Ask for something smaller, something realistic.
He said, laughing, but Daniel was unmoved. He smiled and said,
Psalm 2:8, Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance. God said we should ask for nations. I'm not asking for nations yet, just a 5-bedroom apartment. That's nothing to God if He's willing to give me nations.
And something about his faith caught heaven's attention. His absolute trust in God's word and ability to provide warmed the Father's heart. And the Father spoke.
Angel,
He said,
their cups are full, according to the measure of their faith. Give to each from my riches and glory, as they have requested.
Heaven's word was final, and on earth, something moved. The next morning, Andrew's phone rang again. It was his aunt.
Andrew, I've been meaning to call you. I'm moving abroad permanently, and I don't want to sell my apartment. It's small, just a single room with a window that overlooks the street, but I'd rather give it to someone in the family who needs it. Would you take it?
She said. Andrew's eyes widened. His heart leapt. A single room with a window, exactly what he had prayed for. He fell to his knees, whispering, "Thank you, Lord, you heard me." He moved in that week. The little space glowed with gratitude. He painted the walls, set up a tiny table by the window, and prayed there every morning. It wasn't much, but it was his, and for 3 days he couldn't stop smiling. Then, on the 3rd day, Daniel called. His voice carried something Andrew hadn't heard before.
Brother, you won't believe what just happened.
What is it?
Andrew asked. Daniel's words tumbled out.
Do you remember that day I helped an older man move furniture to a new house? Turns out he's a real estate developer, a staunch Christian, and a kingdom financier. The house I helped move those things into wasn't even his. It was one of his clients. He told me he never forgot the way I served that day, how I refused the money he tried to give me.
Andrew listened, silent. Daniel continued.
He called me this morning. He said God spoke to him last night, told him to give away one of his estates, fully furnished, 5 bedrooms. He said my name came to mind instantly. I went to see it, Andrew. It's beautiful. He handed me the keys himself. He said, "Son, when God speaks, obedience is easy. He never takes without giving more." Brother, it's exactly what I prayed for.
Daniel's voice broke, his heart full of gratitude towards God. When the call ended, Andrew sat there, speechless. The single window in his own little room caught a ray of sunlight. He smiled faintly as a deep realization dawned on him. God had given them exactly what they asked for, nothing more, nothing less, and he realized it then. The dream hadn't been random. The angel's words weren't just poetic.
According to the measure of your faith.
Lord,
He said softly.
I asked small because I believe small, but I see now. You were never limited. I was.
He looked at the window again. The sunlight spilled across in golden rays. He could almost hear heaven's voice again.
The king gives freely, but what you carry determines how much stays in your hands.
And that day, Andrew knelt beside his little window and prayed a different prayer. Not for a bigger house nor riches this time, but for a bigger bowl and an audacious faith. And somewhere, unseen, heaven smiled, because a man who once came with a small bowl was learning to bring a barrel. To you watching, maybe you too have been coming before God with a small bowl, shaped by past disappointments, by fear, or by the belief that just enough is all you deserve. But heaven is far more generous than your expectations. God is not limited by what you ask for, yet He often answers according to what you believe for. If your prayers have been small, God is inviting you higher to trust Him beyond what makes sense. Not for material things alone, but for everything that pertains to life and destiny. So lift your vision, pray beyond logic, ask beyond comfort, stretch your faith, because when faith expands, heaven responds. And if you're ready to believe God for bigger this season, type in the comments, "Lord, enlarge my faith." But don't let it end there. Take 2 minutes and pray it out and watch heaven respond. If this story blessed you, subscribe so you don't miss the next story, so it blesses more people, and stay tuned for another spirit-filled story.